Good evening, everybody. And I was just sitting here. I was just going to do a little candlelight chat. And then I realized this bottle's sitting right here. And y'all might think it's like wine or something. Actually, this is called Florida water. Or cologne they actually have on the bottle. It smells pretty good, and if you put it in water and put a rag in the water with a little bit of Florida water in it, the rag will stay cooler longer, and you can like put it on your back of your neck if you're working outside, etc. It's a great little gift you can pick up for guys and girls who work outside. It's called, well, Florida cologne, but we call it Florida water. Anyway, I have been thinking, you know, we as human beings, especially those of us who, you know, pursue books after high school, you know, and even in life or in your profession, getting a certificate of some kind, you go through, there's books in that also you have to study, and we go to acquire knowledge. And unfortunately, we've equated knowledge with truth. And I've made that mistake my whole life. There's a lot of knowledge that is not truth. And therefore, that's how you have these people that are so highly educated, yet so dumb. They are really good at memorizing the supposed, quote, facts, end quote, given to them as the gospel, and it works good enough for whatever it is that they do, and they're praised for doing it that way, whichever way they have learned. And these are not your more creative people. These are the ones that fall in line under whichever profession they choose. Very rarely do you get anyone who veers off, but they're only allowed to veer off so far. I mean, they can't disrupt the main line of the system. You can have little veins that kind of shoot off and kind of, you know, they end. They don't go anywhere. Or arteries. But you cannot have them leave the main path completely. Whatever that path is that they've decided on. And I'm not saying that within knowledge there isn't truth. Because there is. But on a lot of key issues, it's partial truth, or it's, you know, it's like wrapped in truth, but in that segment, it's a lie. And when you find out some of these things, it's just quite upsetting. It really is. But you have to understand that these people who are in these higher echelons and education or medical or whatever it may be. They've built their whole lives around these facts, and to them, these facts are the truth. To admit that you're wrong, or the decades that you spent or years that you spent doing this and being admired for it and being paid well for it, and then it turns out that it's a lie, a partial lie, it's corrupt, it's deceptive. You've actually hurt people. In any profession. I mean, you could be a beautician and they tell you this chemical is perfectly fine, and then come to find out years later it causes problems. In women, where you've dyed their hair or something, but you had no idea. Any profession. Education, you follow a certain theory, like they did. Oh God, when was that? When I got them, they were in 7th grade. But it turns out for 2 years that they taught these children only whole language when they reached kindergarten and 1st grade. They did not teach them phonetics at all. It was sight words. Like, hold up a flashcard, recognize the word "the." Just on what it looks like. And phonetics was left out of it for the most part. And so these children, when they got to me in 7th grade, I was wondering why even my 4.0s couldn't spell correctly. Well, at that point in education in 7th grade, we actually had spelling tests. And these kids were horrible. Even my good students. So I knew that it was something that they had missed along the way. And I did my research, come to find out. So yeah, we hurt people with our theories and our facts and ideas that aren't, thought through and certainly not tested. You'd think you would do a smaller study on that before you go and do it to thousands and thousands and thousands. I mean, how do you not teach phonetics of any language? I mean, that's just asinine. To even think that that was even a good idea is unbelievable to me. So, how is it that some of us have more discernment than others? Maybe it's because we've had to face a lot of truths in our lives about ourselves, the mistakes we've made, the imperfect childhoods that we had, the insistence on facing the truth when adults around us didn't want to face the truth. In my adult life, facing some hard truths. Living amongst people that lie for their own selfish reasons. And on purpose. This isn't like a mistake. like I was talking earlier, that, you know, people just follow their avenue and whatever their business is or whatever. Now, these are people who purposely, you know, lie to get whatever it is they want. So it's not really a far leap for those. It's not as big of a leap. It's a leap, but it's not as big of a leap to realize that the system is broken. And a lot of the things that we spent hours and hours learning are useless. Not all, though. It's not all a loss. I learned how to critically think. I learned how to analyze. I think it's because of my pursuit of philosophy. Even though I ended up being an English major and a philosophy minor, I was only one class, 3 hours short of a major in philosophy. I took it every semester. So I would go to school, and it taught me how to think. It exposed me to so many different theories and ideas that were far different from your normal way of thinking. It exposed me to science and theories in science, because those are also philosophies. It exposed me to ethics, which is critical. If you don't have a higher power, I pity you. But if you don't have ethics, you're worthless. And then logic. Logic is just, it's difficult, because it's like words in a mathematical format. But it's so crucial in understanding things like the slippery slope and all these methods that people use in communication for manipulation, and to be able to spot them so that you understand what it is to speak clearly and succinctly without emotional words, and use clear and concise language to describe in an objective manner what it is you're trying to communicate. And it's what most people would consider a useless degree turned out to be priceless. More valuable to my life. You know, really, it's like I talk out loud and I'm really hearing it. And it's the truth. So, you can have all the letters behind your name, and I have a few. Or you can have a couple of letters in front of your name. But that knowledge does not equate to truth. Not always. And people need to understand that. There's going to be a lot that's going to come to the surface. Things that have been hidden. I don't know if it's going to shift things into such chaos and get really, really bad and, you know, no return, or it's going to be a shift to point us back in the right direction. But there's going to be some hard truths that are going to come to the surface, that things aren't the way people think they are necessarily. And I don't know how much they're going to actually expose to the public. I think that to expose everything would be too much. Will there be justice? Depends on if it goes the wrong way or it shifts back in the right direction. It's truly a fork in the road. And to go in the right direction is going to be in a path we have not traveled in my lifetime. And certainly since before World War I. I mean, we've been fighting for so long and going in the wrong direction. It's just everything started with good intentions, and we were trying to right our wrongs, but things went really awry along the way. And the bad people took over because the good people are just that. They're good. But it doesn't mean that they outnumber us. It just means that they're bullies. So, you gotta steel up and steel your spine and sit up straight and speak the truth when the time is right. Sometimes it's not. You've got to pick the right moments. You've got to pick the right time, because otherwise you're just picking a fight and you're not going to get anywhere. But remember, I don't think I know everything 100%. I just think I have an overall idea with certain topics that all connect. And there's some really bad things that's been going on and hidden from us for a very, very, very long time. And some of that will come to the surface. So we will see. What is done with it, who knows? But we're in a bad way right now. They used to say, there's no other way but up. I don't think we've quite hit rock bottom yet, which is kind of scary. But they keep throwing everything we need to be scared of on the television. And you need to turn it off if you can't handle it. And you need to live your life. But be aware. Be aware. And don't be so nice and such a pushover. And let the bullies just run everything. When you have your opportunity, get into a better place. Exit the room. Find your moment to say something. Not in anger, very calmly. We cannot be emotional. I watched somebody debate somebody the other day, and one was very yes, no, very logical in how they spoke, didn't sway from the point of the conversation, and the other one was all over the place. Obviously not prepared, and even got slightly emotional. Well, emotional language was used. So, who appeared like the idiot, regardless of who was telling the truth or not? Well, it's the one who's sitting there calmly and confidently. So, keep that in mind when you're speaking to people. Also, it's a reflection on you. And we've kind of lost that idea of self-respect, obviously. So, get out there, learn, discern, and try and find the truth. But remember, it's not always about knowledge and all those books and everything. You gotta be careful. Unfortunately, I know. Have a great evening. Have a great day. And don't let them steal your joy. Bye for now.